another shopper project I will upload. Shopping related project document I uploaded. I will upload the shopper project. In that also Redux concept is used. So I will give step-by-step process you implement in that project. That means how to set up Redux. Already what is Redux we learned. So what is the concept of Redux is creating a predictable state so that developers can easily understand what is being stored, how it is accessed, when it is updated. Redux is used to maintain a predictable global store, right? And we can implement in different projects. If you have done the projects, you can do that. You can implement that. I will show you the implementation of that Redux in video library project. You should do this. You should have done that video library project. If you have done the video library project, then in the video library project, so the Redux in video library project, how to implement. So what we do is, let's, I uploaded this. I hope you tried these also. In this project, this is the video library project. I showed you how it works already, how it runs, executes. I showed you that, including APIs and all these options. Now, in this project, what is the concept? When user logs in and user opens the dashboard, he can watch the videos. He can save the videos for watching later, just like history, so that we can maintain a separate history of videos, which will contain the list of videos which he saved, so that he can watch later. All videos are available, but we will give an option save for watching later, such option. And that should be globally maintained so that from anywhere he can watch, he can access. Because in a project, there will be several modules. From any module, he must able to access and view the content. So then what we do, let's see how to implement that. For this first step, what we have to do is you have to install Redux toolkit into project. That is the first thing you have to do. npm install, we have redux.js /toolkit. And we need React Redux also. And save. That is the first thing you have to do. So install Redux toolkit into the project. So you need to set up the toolkit. Redux toolkit. So after that, actually, if you have seen the process, what we done. So that means what is the process? We used reducer. In reducer, what we have done in reducer, we created a initial state. We created reducers and all, right? So I will show the point here. Already in reducer, we learned the process actually. So here, first install these two. So this is Redux.js toolkit and React Redux. Now, in general, reducer, what we have done is, when we learnt about use reducer, we saw we have to create initial state. In the initial state, we need to maintain some data and we need to create a reducer. This reducer contains what? It contains actions and it will collect the payload, right? So payload is the data. We collect the data, we define the data, and we have dispatch. Dispatch is nothing but it contains the event. Dispatch usually contains the event. So it contains an event. On that particular event, it will dispatch action. Dispatch action. So this is the basic thing we need to do usually. That means data is stored in one place. Into the data, we need to send some information. So that is done by reducer. So reducer is going to identify the action, add data into the store. And what dispatch tells, when it is added, where it is added, all this is defined by using this. At high, when we designed in reducer, we maintained everything in one file. If you remembered use reducer, already we done. When we done use reducer, we maintained everything in one file. In one file, we created initial state. We created the function called reducer. We are using a hook called use reducer. We are dispatching the actions, collecting the data. But in projects, usually what happens, we maintain separate files. Store one file, initial state another file, reducers another file. Separately we maintain so that we can reuse across various locations. So at a high level, in your video library project that you have done, in this project, what you have to do is, so create a new slicer. You have to create a slicer. We have to create a slicer. You need to create a slicer in project with the initial state. You have to create a new slicer in project with initial state. And usually, what is a slicer? I will give some points. Slicer is a Redux component. Slicer is a Redux component used to configure initial state. Initial state. And what is initial state? Initial state is nothing but initial state defines the data to store. Initial states defines the data to store. Initial state is used to define the data to store. What data to store? So in a video library project, initial state contains two things. One is videos count. Another one is videos. So videos count is a number and this is an array. This is a number and this is an array. That means what are the videos? This is an array. That means why we are using Redux in videos project is to save the videos so that he can watch later for that. So how to do that? What we need to do is add a new folder into project by name slicers. So by name slicers, we need to add. And it is in SRC. All your dynamic must be in SRC only. So now here you have to add a new file into slicers folder, and the file name is videoslicer.jsx. We can keep a videoslicer.jsx. And what you need to define in this video slicer is, in the video slicer, actually, we have to import. There is a component called create slice. Create slice from the React Redux toolkit. Redux toolkit. From Redux toolkit, you can import this. It is Redux.js toolkit. You have to import. Generally, people who use Redux, they will not use all these components at small scale. Means in real world projects, it is good to maintain separate files and use these components. So many times in interviews also, they may ask like, for experienced people usually, they may ask like, so what are the components of Redux toolkit? Because many people know Redux, how to use, but they don't use the complete toolkit components. They use only few features like how to define initial state. They define initial state without the slicers, and they define reducers. Just like how we done in use reducer, they will create everything in one place. But at large scale projects, they expect this, that you create separately everything and maintain. So create slice is a component, and this create slice component you have to import. Through what is the purpose of create slices? You can create a component, and what is the concept about this component is, so define the initial state, right? We are defining initial state. So here I will give a point. Create slice is used to configure initial state and actions to perform. Configure initial state and actions to perform. So usually we configure initial state, and initial state contains, it is an object. We have two details to maintain. What are the two details? Videos count means how many videos are present. So that is videos count, and it is initially set to 0. And we have videos. Videos is an array type. That means it is an array. So what is the data you need to maintain? And we have to create a constant video slice is by using the method create slice. What create slice is expecting is, it is expecting some options. It is expecting some options. What are the options is, every slice will have a name. So we will give some name as video. That is the slice name. And it contains data. What is the data? Initial state. Slice contains initial state. It contains reducers. Reducers are nothing but, reducers usually define what actions to perform. What are the actions to perform? That is defined by reducer. What is the action to perform? So in our project, what action we want to perform? In our project, we want to save, like we will just put an option, add to save list. That is the action. And what this action has to do, it has to get the state and the action. And this is all like you have done in your, what is it? Reducer. In the reducer, you configured that. This we already done in our use reducer. And what this action has to do? So that means we need to define. Action is going to collect the payload. So what we do? State dot. In the state, what is the data stored? Initial state contains two details. What is that? We have videos. Videos is what? Videos is a collection of videos. That means array into that push. What we need to push? So we need to push the action dot payload. Payload is nothing but the data coming from your UI. From UI, whatever data is coming through an action. Action is nothing but they will click save button. When they click save button, an action will trigger. It will collect the current video which they clicked save. That is what we call as payload. And it will store in this videos. And count, how we'll define? State dot. So video count, videos count, videos count. How you define the videos count is equal to state dot videos dot length. Means how many videos are saved in the list, you need to define it. This is the basic approach we need to follow. We need to create a slice, and the slice comprises of the action. Initial state and action. Then we have to export constant add to save list. We have to export that because we created as a constant. So video slice dot action. We have the actions we need to export. We need to export the constant, and we need this add to save list. Add to save list is a function. That function is exported, and it is collected from where? It is collected from video slice actions. This is video slice. In the video slice, the action, this is an action. This action we are exporting so that we can use it. So export default, what it is? Video slice. So dot reducer. That means the reducer also exported. Otherwise, you cannot access and use them from outside location. You cannot access from outside location. This is the slice. So what is the first step? First step is you have to install the Redux toolkit. Second step, create a slicer. What is the purpose of slicer is in Redux? Slicer creates the initial state, and the slicer is responsible for configuring the action. Initial state and action is defined inside slicer. So initial state contains information about what data is stored. But where data is stored in a separate store. We need to create a global store. So next step, create a global store into project to save the data and use across components, across the components. So that means what we have to do is, for that, first add a new file by name store.jsx. You need to configure the file store.jsx. And we have to import configure store from toolkit. Configure store from toolkit. So it is a component of Redux toolkit used to create global store. And what is the purpose of global store is global store keeps the data globally so that it is predictable. That is the main concept now. Predictable and debuggable. It is predictable and debuggable. So we need to configure the store. So what we have to do is store.jsx. This is the file we need to add. And you have to import configure store from, so which location? React at the net redux.js/toolkit. You have to import configure store from there. And what we have to do is we have to import the video slicer because video slicer contains initial state. So you have to import video slicer. So from where you have to import //slicer/video slicer. So we have video slicer. That is the file. And what slicer contains? Slicer contains the data. Data is present in state now. It contains. So export default configure store. Configure store is a component. So what it contains? It is a method. And in this store, we need to define the details. What are the details to be defined in the store is actually it usually contains a reducer. What is the purpose of reducer? Reducer defines the action and the data. It defines the action. It contains store and that store contains video slicer. That means in the store, we have assigning this video slicer. Video slicer contains the data. The data is nothing but state. Now, one more work we have to do. Actually, this you can do if you've done the project I uploaded. If you haven't done the project I uploaded, then you cannot try this. First do it. First you have to do that project. Next, now what you have to do, go to index.js and import store and define for application. So you have to go to index.js because if it has to be globally available, then you have to keep in index. For that, what you have to do is, so store is a service. Service means it requires a provider. So requires a provider. Already we know provider is responsible for locating and using it. So what you have to do is import provider. So we have to import the provider from Redux store. That means we need to import it from Redux store. So that means at the net redux.js/store. So from there we have to import the provider. Actually React Redux, sorry. This is from React Redux. From React Redux, we have to import the provider. And this provider must be used by our application. And one more you have to import. You have to import store. So from /store/store Actually, we will create a separate folder called store, and from there we will import it. So how do you define the provider? We have a provider. So provider uses a store coming from that particular store. And in this provider scope, you have to put your app. Your app. That means all the components in the app can use that store. That is the concept. That means now the store is available globally and all the components can use that store. And usually app contains the routing and you can navigate from any to any component. So all components which are configured within the route of that particular app, they can use this store now. Earlier, what we learned is how we can provide data context reducer like that. Context means the data can be provided from parent to child, the component which is running in that. How to transport data across components? How to transport the data across components? Data is transported across components by using various techniques. What are those? We can transport by using route parameters. So we learned route parameters, search parameters. We can use local storage, session storage. We can use cookies. These are all transporting data. That means in login, you created a cookie and in another component, you can access. You can use session storage, local storage. Today, I will upload FAQs also, one document of FAQs, all interview questions in one document. That's enough. If you can prepare that complete document, it will have at most 200, 300 questions asked regularly in interviews. If you can prepare, then you can crack. Already in our regular classes, every day I am giving FAQ. If you make a list of all of them, then you can easily manage. But you need to know all these things, right? Now, after configuring, we have to define actions. So go to this is user dashboard in video library project and configure save action. You have to configure the save action. That means it requires dispatch from Redux toolkit. What dispatch can do is dispatch can dispatch any action with payload. So action carries the payload and saves in store. Action will carry the payload and saves in the store. That's what we need to do. So for that, what we have to do is, this is actually user dashboard. I given the project with all these files. In user dashboard, JSX, you need to import. Import what? You need to import use dispatch. Use dispatch from, so at the net redux.js /toolkit. You need to import use dispatch from redux.js toolkit. And once you import, what can be done? You have to import the action also. That means you have to import the action. Which action? Add to save list, right? This is from which location? It is from slicers. In the slicers, we have slicer. That is the file, slicer JSX. Actually, it is video slicer. No? Video slicer, we can import the dashboard. Now, what we have to do is, so we need to have a function, handle save click. Usually for save button, we will write a function, save click. On save click, what we have to do? We have to dispatch the action. Into that, we need to send the data. Actually, this save click will collect the video details. The video details we will collect here. We learned how to pass the custom arguments, right? Then how do we do that? So we need to dispatch. So what is it? Dispatch. Actually, here we need to configure. So what is the dispatch? Dispatch from where? Use dispatch. Use dispatch is a hook, right? So we need to define dispatch. And what is the action to dispatch? And what is the data? Add to what? Save list. So that is what we need to dispatch. And what is the data to be carried into this? So into this, we need to send the video. So it will send the video details and it will store. Actually, this video contains the information about the video, which will be saved into the initial state. That means it is in the store. These all actions we need to configure. So that is the reason I given you the project. If you have implemented that complete project, then you can try these type of concept. Right? And I have done this in another shopping project also. In shopping project, when user adds items into wish list, and when user add items into cart items and wish list, these all you can maintain as global store. Why? Because he may browse, he may log in, he may search so many data. All the time, his wish list will be available. He can go anytime and he can use them. He can see them. So this is the process we need to implement. Let's try all this. That means how we can manage. So already we installed the toolkit. So first step, what we have to do in the project, in SRC, we will add a new folder, slicers. Slicers is the folder. We will add a new file, video slicer.jsx. So here we need to configure the video slicer. That means here, that is the first thing we have to do. And to configure video slicer, we need to import create slice. So we will import. So create slice. Create slice from Redux toolkit. And after that, we need to configure initial state. Initial state. Initial state comprises of two details. One is videos, video count. Video count is just a number. Another one, videos. Videos is an array. We need to configure initial state. After that, we need to configure video slice is equal to create slice. Create slice comprises of details. First slice contains a name. Every slice have a name. And what is the name you want to give? Suppose video is the slice name. Okay, next it will contain initial state. Initial state contains the data. And it contains reducers. Reducers define the actions. What is the any number of actions? So what is the action name? Add to save list. That is the action. what this action contains state and action and what it has to do. So by using state, it can access two details, videos and video count. That means into the videos we can push action dot payload. Action have a payload. Payload is the data. Redux is having ready-made all of them, right? So, and we have state in that what video count is equal to. So state dot videos dot length. It will get the count. We have to configure this. Now, this is not available to use outside. We have to export reducers and we have to export the video slice. So what we need to do, we need to configure export. So export constant, what is that? So we need to export, one is add to save list. So this must be exported where it is present. It is present in video slice. Yeah, video slice dot what? Actions. And we need to export another one. What is another one to export is default video slice dot, so reducer. We need to export the reducer. That means reducer contains the actions. It contains the actions. Actually, you can do in another way. What you can do is directly you can use export function. In that function, you can configure them, or you can create it and later you can export. You can use any, right? Now slicer is ready. Slicer contains initial state and slicer comprises of data, right? Now after the slicer is created, we need to create the store where we can store the data. That means what we will do, I will create another folder, that is store. In the store, we will create store.jsx. What this store have to do, it has to configure store. That means we need to import configure store from Redux toolkit. And after defining configure store, we need to import the video slicer. From the slicers, we need to import the video slicer because it contains initial state and action. Now we need to configure the store. So how to configure the store? We have to export default, what it is, configure store. It contains options. What are the options? It contains a store. In the store, actually it is having reducer. Yeah. So reducer, what reducer contains? It contains the store. And what is the store? What data you need to define inside the store? From video slicer, whatever data comes. So from video slicer, whatever data comes, you can define in the store. The store contains two details now. What are the details? This store comprises of two details. You can see video count, another one videos. Right. So now the store is also ready. Just what you have to do, you need to configure a provider in the index.js. In the index.js, you need to import provider. We need to import a provider from the Redux, React Redux. And we need to configure the provider here. So how do we configure the provider? In the provider, we need to define. And this provider should use a store. So we will import another one. What we have to import? We have to import store from store. And this provider have to use a store. The store data coming from where? Store. That is the process. So this is at a high level in a project we create. And remember, I created only one slicer. Like that, several slicers can be created, several stores can be created. It is not like only one data. I am creating videos data. So that is save list. They can also have downloaded videos separate list. saved videos, separate list, history, separate list. They can use all such multiple slicers you can have and multiple store data you can have. Store is only one, but in store, I used videos and videos count. Like that, you can keep any number of data, anything you can keep in that. Now, how to handle the data store? We have to go to user dashboard. Where is it? In the components user dashboard. In the dashboard, he can watch the videos actually. In this, what we will do? In this, this is buttons. These are the buttons they are having, likes, dislikes, views. In this, we will add one more button and class. So the button will have a class name, BI save. Like that, save is actually floppy. Yeah? So we have a BI floppy. Floppy is that. We will use that floppy. And this is some BTN and BTN, suppose success, something like this. Here, save. Like this I am giving. So, or say watch later. Like this I am defining. Now on this click, it has to dispatch the video. It has to dispatch the video on the click. That means now what you have to do? You have to import two things in this. Import what? Use dispatch. You have to import use dispatch from Redux, React Redux. I given different dispatch from toolkit. It is not toolkit, React Redux actually it is. It is React Redux. So dispatch from React Redux. And we need to import this add to save list. We have to import, so add to save list. We have to import that add to save list from the slicer. Now what we have to do, we need to write a function. So what is the function? Handle save click. On save click, we need to get the dispatch. How to configure the dispatch? That means we need to define a dispatch. So let dispatch is equal to use dispatch. And we need to use the dispatch here. So we need to define the dispatch. Dispatch is a method. It is expecting action name. What is the action name? Add to save list. This action is expecting payload. Payload is coming from video. Na? That means here we are expecting a video. That video we will pass into it. That is the payload. And on save click, we need to send the video. And already videos map is reading every video. On click, what we have to do, you know. On click, we have to create so a action. You know what is that action? Handle save click. Into that we need to send the video. We already learned how to send custom parameters, right? We can send the video. Now it is ready. Now let's run this npm start. Actually, we can collect the store and display how many videos are there in a separate button somewhere in your page you can display. So that means right side corner somewhere you put an icon, total saved videos, how many. Then there you can display the count. You can collect from store and you can display that. Actually, for that, first you have to do this project. Right? So if you haven't done this, then you cannot implement all such options. If already you designed it, you can easily now try these examples. That's the reason including source code also I given to you. In that zip folder, node modules is not there. So what you have to do, you cannot run the project as it is I given. What you have to do is you have to copy those files code and you need to upload all the You need to install all the libraries, server side libraries, client side libraries. Manually, you have to install them. Okay, now in this, what we will do is we need to log in. So HTTP 127.0.0.1 something 30. Which one it is using? It is using 3030. 3030 and slash users. It will get me the users data. Get users. Acha, API is not started. I will start the API also. CD server folder is there. It is in some business layer. Business layer. In the business layer, REST API. So node REST API.js started. Now users is there. Get users. Okay, one user John at the net John11. So I will log in. So login user. This is John underscore NIT. Okay. John at the net 11 and login. The videos will come. See, watch later is there. We added the button today, that is watch later. So what we will do is let's now open the extensions. Redux Dev Tools. I asked you to install this Redux Dev Tools. In this Redux Dev Tools, you can see now store is ready. And see the store. In the store, two details are there. One is video count, another one videos. That means it is maintaining a global store. And here, if data is stored, it's just like your session or local storage. So it can be accessed from anywhere. And you see, it has currently state is this. Developer can know the action. Developer can know the difference. Difference means before what it is having, currently what it is having. And what changes. He can test, he can trace everything. Developer have the complete facility of tracking. Now action, you see currently there is no action. State currently it is empty. And the difference states are equal. Currently there is no difference. Tracing shows what activities performed. Currently there is nothing performed. Okay. Let's go to the state. Now I will click on watch later button. When I click on watch later, it is added. We can put an alert saying that added to save list, something like. Now we will go into the extensions and Redux, and you can see now one video is there. And what is that video? That video is the video we selected. That is the video ID 2, AWS introduction. Now you can observe the action. Action is add to save list. On add to save list, what is the payload? Means what is the data delivered, right? And you can see the difference. Previously it was 0, now it is 1. Previously it was videos, it is having a new record. The tracing, tracking related data, that means where you clicked. That means it will show the complete tracking. which action dispatched, where it is clicked, and where the button is present. Everything is known to developer very clearly. So this is for developers. This is for developers. So developer can easily track what activities are performed when the data. This for user, they don't need all this. So Redux is a toolkit for developers so that they can clearly monitor the state and can make the state, design the state so that it doesn't have any issues. Usually problem with developers is when they design a state, runtime issues will come. That means they are not sure. Sometimes data is not stored. Then again, client will send a query saying that I am trying to save, it's not saving, it is not showing. How developer will test it? There is no scope of testing the state. And for that, this makes better. These kind of libraries will make better. And usually, so this has a lot of other actions. Dispatch, where you clicked, what action is clicked, everything it will display. So this is important. So I clicked on another one, watch later. Then what happens in this now? It will have the second one. 2 videos are there now. This is number 2. And what is the difference? Previously it was 1, now it is 2. At which place it is added? All that information. What actions perform? It will define everything. Developers' convenience. This is developers' convenience. Actually, this is when I click on play, it is showing what activities performed. You click play, it will show. Initially, states are equal. After that, it is updated 1 to 2. Everything. That means it will record the activity. It will even have a log monitor. Log monitor means initially how much data is stored, what data is stored, everything. So it will have a chart also. That means the chart will tell from the state store videos are coming and how many videos are stored, video count is how much. It will display. This is developers related all the convenience. That means for developer, they need to understand what activities are performed, when it is performed, what is stored. And now one more option is there. If you want to show how many videos are there in the list, means okay, it is stored in the store. From store, we have to collect. From store, we have to collect means what you do. If you want to collect from the store and display, what you have to do, you have to import. Where to import? You can import in the main page or you can import anywhere. So you have to import. What to import? We have to import store from store. You have to import the store from store. And where you want to show it, suppose I want to show in the dashboard itself, here I want to show how many saved videos are there. Then what we have to do, collect the store. And store is having a get state. In the get state, you can see it is having store. The store is having videos count. Videos count, another one, videos. You can collect all the videos and display them. Which one he saved? Or I will just display the number. How to display array, we already know. Right? You put a model pop-up in that display those videos. They saying that click here to watch your saved videos, right? The videos count, that means it has to get the videos count and show. That means how many videos are there. That means these are saved videos, how many. Then we can just display that saved videos too. And when you can make them clickable, when user clicks, again from store, collect those videos and display them. We already know now, clickable cart items we designed. When user clicks, pop-up will come. In that we can display those cart items. So that means we can show those videos, right? So how to display the data coming from the store? One more last stage is, so you can display the data in UI. So you can display the store data in UI. How we can do is we have to import store from store/store. And what we have to do is anywhere if you want to display, just we have to use store dot get state. Get state will have a store. In that store, we have videos count. We have videos count. We can display that. We have videos count. We have videos. Right. This is Redux, how we use Redux for maintaining the state, how it makes everything easy for a developer to understand the data and all. Next, another point is, so this is just an add-on. You need to understand another concept, testing. Testing React components. Testing React components. It is not required. Even in interviews also, nobody much asks this for you. Only for experienced people who shows experience in React.js and they say that I have involved in testing also. That is not regular for React people. Just I give an overview because testing is again a separate framework. We need a testing framework. The testing framework allows us to test the application. So what is testing? Testing, what is the concept of testing? Testing is not checking for errors. That we call it as what? Build. Building and a project. Building and a project means what? Building and project means checking for errors. If there are no errors, then create a folder ready for production. That is building. So what is testing? Testing is not checking for errors. Testing is actually verifying whether the client requirement is satisfied with the design that you created. That means we actually test the application not for errors, test the application to check whether it is matching the client requirements. That means client is asking that I want a title. Is the title there? Client is asking that the title must be in this font. Is it in that font? So it is having that text. It is having that particular appearance. Everything we test. So what is the concept of test is? Testing is the process of verifying as is with to be. And assert the result. Verifying as is with to be. What is as is? As is means as is the developer's design. As is, what is as is? As is developer's design. What is to be? To be is the client requirement. The client requirement. As is developer's design and to be is client requirement. That means, so as is equal to be. That means test pass. So if as is not equal to be, that means test fail. Test fail. That is the point. As is means what you designed, and to be is what client actually expecting. So testing JavaScript libraries and frameworks, libraries and frameworks require various testing frameworks. So we can use frameworks like we are having just we have Jasmine, Karma. We have like Protractor. All these are different testing frameworks. And it's not necessary that everybody uses the same, depending on the project and requirement. So it's not necessary that everyone uses the same. So that's the reason just we will have an idea of how general tests are created. By default, React project template is enabled with just framework. It is enabled with just framework. React project template is enabled with just framework. It is enabled with the just framework. So, and just is a huge testing framework. It is a very big one. So learning testing framework is a lengthy concept. So, but how it works, I will tell you. Actually, testing every component comprises of three phases. We call as arrange, act, asset. Anywhere in any testing environment, testing any component contains three stages: arrange, act, and asset. Arrange is nothing but usually arrange is first we have to import the component that we are going to test. Act is nothing but you have to tell what to test. Asset is nothing but identify the result and report the result. So three phases will be there. And for that, different testing frameworks have different functions. Different functions will be there. Actually, just a framework, usually, it is a testing framework. This is a testing framework. And it is a very popular framework for JavaScript based application. Angular, React, Node, Vue, everybody can use it. It depends. Projects, any project can use it. And it's not just only this. We have different options. That means it will provide lot of functionalities. So lot of methods to perform the test. Initially, basic one example I will show you. The basic test we will see. Means how actually test is performed. Usually, when you define the test, see, suppose there is a login, user login is present. So user login is nothing but, so in this user login, we want to verify whether the required content is there or not. Required content is not there or not. Actually, if you remembered, when you create a project, in that project by default one test file is present. What is that test file? So we usually have test file like app.spec.js, test.js. So here, actually, this project is already there with the setup actual. Yeah, actually there is, yeah. Suppose we have a login screen. We have a simple login screen. We have a login screen. So this is the login screen. So we have some login screen. Yeah. Now what is the login screen is? In this login screen, I have to test. Means I need to check this is a login component. I need to verify whether this component is having all the required content or not. Then what is my requirement is this login must have the heading called user login, not customer login. But my developer have designed that customer login, but actually client requirement is user login. So I need to check whether heading is according to my requirement or not. Then how to access this heading? To access the heading, we have to give a data hyphen test ID. That means you use a data test ID to access any element, just like get element by ID, right? Every element can have a test ID in order to test. So what is the data test ID? I will give title. Title is a test ID. Okay. Another important is in that login screen, I will remove this actually. In the login screen, what I want, in the login screen, I want a forgot password link. In the login screen, I need a forgot password link, but my developer missed it. That means there is no link called forgot password. So what is the concept now? What is the concept? So this is an example. So login component must have title user login. That is our requirement. What is another one? Login component. So must have a link. What is that link? So link. So with the text, forgot password. Forgot password. And important is link href, anything you can define href. So must have a route path. The route path is what? So slash forgot password. That is the link href should be there. These are general requirements now. That means what is our requirement is login component must have title user login. So what you have to do is add a new test file into project. So what is the test file name? So login.test.js. You can use test.js. You can also add as login.spec.js. It's a very traditional specification, test specification. You can use spec.js or test.js. Testing files usually have the extension this. So after that, you have to import render and screen from just library. So from the test library, we have to import render and screen. These two we need to import. Render, it renders the component to test. Screen, it can access component elements and test. It can access the component elements and test. That means means on the screen present. It can access and test. So syntactically, we write a test, test type, test name, case name. This is actually test case name. And here callback function. In this, what we have to do, we need to render the component. That means which you want to test, you need to render. After that, you need to create a reference. We have to use screen dot by test ID. So, and what is your test ID? So the test ID is your test ID, whatever ID you have given. Now we have expect reference to be. So we have so many functions to be, like to be equal to, have attribute, like to be, like that. Hundreds of functions are present. Hundreds of functions present. So you can that official website, there you will find mock methods. So all the to be string, to be boolean, to be number. That means what client expects. You have to configure all this. That is how we need to define the test. So now, what is our requirement here? Actually, in login, we are having this login.test. That is the login actually. So what is the first thing in this is we have to import. So two things. One is screen from the testing library. Another one is what? Render from the testing library. So I will write test case 1. Okay, what is the test case 1? We have to use a test name. Test name is title test. Okay, what is the title test? So first, where is that title? It is in login. So what you have to login, right? So first you have to render which component? Login component you have to render. After that, in login, I need to test the title. How to get the title? LET title is equal to, how to get the title? Screen dot get. You see how many get functions are there? So many get functions are there. So what we do? Get by test ID. Test ID. What is the test ID we given? Test ID we given as what? Title. So it will collect this title. Where is this? Yeah, it will collect this title, whatever data is present inside it. And what you need to test? So that means expect what? Title. Expect title. What you are expecting? Title to be, or you can say title to be what you are expecting. So to be what? Any value, right? What you are expecting to be. So you can have a lot of functions. You see how many to be are there. That means so many. These are all different options. And to be truthy, to be falsy, to be valid, to be invalid, right? To be what? To be what? So I am expecting to be user login. User login is my requirement. That is one case. Similarly, we write another case. What is the test case 2? Second test case. What is the second test case? Test. This is link test. That means say forgot link test. Okay. So here where it is present in the same component. So render. Which component? Login. Render the login component. Okay. What to do? So we need to access. What is that? Access link. How to access the link? Link is not there. Then how it will have an ID? Link itself is not there. Then how you will access an ID? That means actually we are using screen dot get by text. That means we are using get by text. So that means get by text. What text you are expecting? I am expecting text called forgot password. Forgot password. That is the text. It is a pattern. Pattern means slash. In the slash, I am expecting forgot password. Okay. So what it should be? First, it should be in the document. That link should be in the document. That means what we do, expect what we are expecting, link to be in the document. That is what we are expecting. What is another one we are expecting? If it is in document, it should have href. That means expect. What is expect? Link to have attribute. To have attribute. Which attribute? It should have an attribute called some href. What is the value of href? Value of href is forgot password. This is what we are expecting. That means you can check whether image is there or not, whether the image source is correctly defined or not, everything. Font family, what is given, font size, how much given, everything, every attribute you can collect and test. So now once you define this, that means let's test this application now. How to test that application? npm run test. We have to just use npm run test. npm run test is going to start the test and test your application, because the test library is already added into the projects when you create an application. It is testing login.test.js. There can be several test files. Currently, we are having only one test file and it is testing that. So finally, how to run the test? Just we need to define run test. So npm run test. We have run test. So you see it is running the test and it have some errors. You see, so one test suit and see two tests and two failed. So two failed. What are those tests failed? That means you can see title test. Title test is failed. Why? It received, right? So received to be expected. Expected is user login, but it is having customer login. That is the problem. So what we will do now? So that means two tests fail. That means we will go to the component and we will change this to which one? User login. Okay, if I save this, it will run again. I done the modification, it will run again. And this time it has to show me another option. What is it? So title test is okay. Title test is having no issue. And what is another one? Title test is failure. What it is? It is not to be. Here it is having something like what? To have text content, I will use this. Okay, now one is pass. So to be means it is verifying value equal, right? Here we are verifying the text, right? To have text content. Okay, one passed, one failed. And what is that passed is? So the passed one is ready. So that is already passed. Title test is passed. Only that another one is fail is this one. Title test is successful. Forgot link is not there. And what about forgot link is, see the error what they define. So they define that here. Yeah. This forget link. You can see it is unable to find an element with the text forgot. Okay, let's go and add that in our login screen. In the login screen, we will add a link. That means we will expect an anchor. Anchor, in that we will give forgot password. That is the text we are expecting. I will compile again. When I compile again, forgot password is there, but attribute is missing. Again fail. Why it is failed? Because this time, so it is expected to have href as forgot password, but it received null. That means it is not having forgot password. So what we do? So href is equal to forgot password. So forgot password. That is forgot password. So what we are expecting in the test, actually it is simple. Href is like forgot password some slash like this we give. That means just link. So that means this is forgot password and with the what slash. Even you miss the slash also, it will show an error. That means now everything tested, all the tests pass. That means it will show that 2 tests are pass. So every concept of the function we can test. We can test. So this is one simple example actually. So this is an example of login.jsx and login.test.js. That's the example for that. This project I will upload again. Means I will upload the zip folder because I added the Redux into this. I will upload this one more time. So you can check with complete Redux also it is there now. Right? Once you know this, now you are aware of how to use Redux and how do we test. 2 more topics we will see tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, we will discuss 2 more topics. One is we will learn about deployment, deploying on cloud. How do we use a cloud deployment? One small cloud environment I will show here. Another one, we will learn about Webpack. Means how to create a project from scratch, build. That's not required, but it's good to have. And I will give an overview of native, React Native. React Native is mobile applications, but for that you should know Android iOS. I will just give you introduction about how mobile development people use this React, the components, what they have, how they work with that. These 3 we will see in tomorrow's session. Right, tomorrow, so we will have a session at 9 a.m. Okay, na? Right, 9 a.m. we will have session. So it will just same 2-hour session will be there. We will finish all these concepts. Okay, tomorrow we'll complete. Tomorrow we'll have the session. Okay, right.